Okay, today's story, we're continuing yesterday. Conclude the story. So you recall that Rabbi Shlomo Yosef Zevin, Rabbi Zevin, the famous chief editor of the Encyclopedia Talmudis, related Rabbi Yoina Marzebach, who was on the editorial board, Rosh Yeshiva of the famous Kol Torah Yeshiva, which, by the way, this yeshiva, many of its in the Lameds and 60s, a number of its best and brightest became Lubavitchers and today's Rosh Yeshivas. Yeah. Some of its best and brightest. Some of my friends went to Kol Torah. They didn't become Rosh Yeshivas, but it was a famous yeshiva, and it was kind of, tolerant. That's why, the Tanya Shiurim wasn't to be that secret. And so the story goes again. He said they were talking about the emergence of the Koilalim, this new phenomena post-war, and it's an incredible thing. Younger light sitting and learning. Lubavitcher Rebbe, he said, Rabbi Yoina Marzebach to Rabbi Zevin, Gana Goinim, why doesn't he call his Chassidim to do so likewise and devote themselves to Torah? And sit in Koilel. So he said, I can't answer the Rebbe's name, but I'll tell you, yesterday I got a letter out of the blue from the Rebbe, and now I know why I got it. Because the Rebbe sends me a copy of what he spoke about, the Sikha, on the first Rashi. And the first Rashi says that why does Torah begin with Achesh Elachem? In order to be able to answer the time of the Goyim, Listimatem you stole at Yisrael. So the Rebbe asked, even if you have to answer this Taina, and if you'll answer the Taina later in Chumash, this has to be the first thing. So he said, here you go, read the answer. The Kavan is not simply to answer the Taina of the Goyim. Rashi's question and answer is far deeper, and it addresses the two Tainas that a Jew can ask. Two opposite Tainas. The first Taina comes from a holy place, L'cha'ir, it would appear. And what does a Jew say? He says, what's my whole inyan? I should be and I want to be only involved in matters of Kedusha and Torah. It's not my role to be involved in earthly matters, Shemayim v'aretz. This doesn't interest him. The whole world doesn't interest him. He only wants the mitzvah rishon, as Rashi says. He wants to devote himself to Torah and to be exclusively devoted to the spiritual world of Kedusha. To be cut off from the worldly matters completely. So the Neshama is saying, Listim atem, you're thieves. Quoting Rashi here, says that the person, I'm shaychus to Ruchnius, and you want to drag me into kidnapping me, in other words. You want to drag me into the world of Gashmias. So Rashi says, therefore, the opening Rashi, that's not the Kavan El Yoin. The Eibishter wants to be involved in worldly matters and to sanctify it. So much so that which belongs to the Shiva Goyim, which is the whole content of Rashi, that was given to the Yid, that we should sanctify it and refine it. So the Eibishter wants a Jew to be involved in those things that appear to be completely outside his world and elevate them to Torah and mitzvahs. Then comes the second Yetzer Hara, and he comes in the garment of the non-Jew, and he says the same thing, you're thieves. Why are you thieves? It says in the Medrash that Yaakov and Esau were fighting over the worlds, and in the end was Hashem, that Yaakov took Elam Haba, and Esau, Elam Hazah. That was the war in the womb. So the guy says, what are you doing in Elam Hazah? You sit in shul and learn daven. That's your world. But what permission do you have? You're taking it from us to come in Elam Hazah and to try and bring there godliness. Elam Hazah belongs to Esau. If you learn a daven, have no complaints. But here you are, involved in worldly matters, eating and drinking, and involved in business, and you're making that into a holy endeavor. What's going on? And why are you saying everything Bezos Hashem? You're bringing God in. What's God that could do with this now? God is in the Ilam Aruchni. What are you bringing God into your daily life, into your physical, bodily life? This world is mine. You're stealing it from me, says the Yetzer Hara, or the whole world. The first time with the neshama says, you kidnapped me, and the world says that you're stealing it from me. So the Torah says, and Rashi quotes, the whole world belongs to the Eibishter, also Elam has it. And also the Gashmis, and also the Chumriyas. It's true initially he gave it to the Goy, and that's the Tzimtzum. Well, true there was initially a Tzimtzum that separated heaven and earth. But that was his will to make it Tzimtzum. But then the will is given to us, that we should overcome the Tzimtzum, and what? I'm putting these words in, not here. Just connected to our Maimer, that a Yid should bring Dafka Kedusha in the Metzias HaGashmis V'Chumis, the physical material world. And this is so critical that this is why the Torah begins with this powerful and singular and essential and exclusive essential message of what? That our shlichus is to make this world a dira b'tachtonim. And that's why we start reading it. The Rebbe concluded there in the Sikh, which he shares with Rabbi Yoina. When we reach Shabbos Bereishis, L'chedesh Shavuos, why Dafka now? Because Dafka the end of Tishrei. Because here Tishrei we were completely in the higher worlds and his own Baruchnius and so forth. So a Yid shouldn't remain divorced from the world. Adrabah, the Kavan is take all of this and bring it down into the worldly matters and make the whole world as we say in the Rosh Hashanah, the Tefillah, it should be revealed that Hashem Elokei Yisrael Melech Malchusay B'Koil Mashallah, and His kingdom extends to everything. So Rav Zevin concludes, it's very beautiful. He says, Harav Martzebach, I think I'm pronouncing it right, who was a Ish Emes V'Anov, who was a true and humble man, did not conceal his spilus from the content of what the Rebbe was saying here, and the fact that I'd received this letter yesterday, and I had this response ready to answer his question. Have a wonderful day, wonderful Shabbos, and B'suras Tovos.